Okay, I'm here with Jovan today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the artificial intelligence scene in Serbia. This is a subject that hasn't been covered an awful lot in the press recently, as opposed to China. And perhaps the first question I'll have with you is, we've heard a little bit about Chinese investment in Serbia. We've heard that your Prime Minister went to China last year as well to sign some cooperation deals with the Chinese government. I understand you've also been to China. Can you explain a little bit about your understanding of how China will help develop the tech, the AI sector, how a Serbian business sees the link with China?
Yeah, Andy, thanks for that question. I find it pretty challenging. I would say China today, we are like also, we can see like the battle between like China and rest of the world regarding AI, because AI is also geopolitical also element which is really important for the next decades, definitely. But if we are talking from the ground point where technology is important, in China we can see like a real AI application already among people. All are really cutting edge stuff from the research, are pretty like fast deploy around the startups, companies. The government is pretty heavily investing into their ecosystem, into their community, which is something that is not, I would say, you cannot see that kind of level in Europe, and I would say in States in that sense. I was there like in November last year, where I gave a talk on one big AI conference, where you can see that like young kids are learning like TensorFlow, their own like architecture, etc., and they are heavily investing into artificial intelligence. If we are talking from the perspective of our country, there are good like history, from the history we have a really good relationship with China, maybe from this like communism period, etc. But today, what we can see.
Albania. Was that Albania more?
Sorry?
Was it not Albania more that had the link with China back then?
Not so. Like Yugoslavia was a communistic country where in that kind of a history they had also good connection with China, and maybe some kind of roots are also still there. If we are talking about like Serbia and this region as a business ecosystem for them, I would say, okay, it's not a big market, definitely, but here you can find a bunch of talented people who are able to create some innovative products, services, etc. And I see that Chinese are actually interested to a little bit dig and understand capabilities and our position, etc.
Okay. I mean, obviously, there's a mindset needed for people to be intrigued and want to get involved in artificial intelligence. And we hear a lot of stories in China about how people are graded by how much you'll spend in a shop. You know, you walk into a shop and the camera picks you up immediately and says, okay, they're worth having as a customer, or perhaps they're not. And then there's all these QR codes as well we use on the streets in various big cities in China. I understand that PayPal a few days ago also came out with the initiative that perhaps they will do QR codes as well, which leads me nicely on to my next question is, Europe, as it stands at the moment, perhaps isn't a technology wonderland, but from what we can see that you are trying to help Europe in this regard. A few years ago, there was an initiative in Serbia we saw called Liberland, and now we're seeing an initiative called Wonderland. Can you explain a little bit about the idea, the name, the concept behind the name, how you came up with it?
Yeah, definitely. Our quest is to help like with the branding of this part of Europe where we are currently, because maybe this media perspective that is currently like in the West Europe is not on the level where actually things are like local in those kind of countries. We believe that we have resources and I would say courage to invite like international AI experts to come and join us here, where we will like open dialogue around artificial intelligence, where we want to show that wonders are possible, that if we find a way how to like be a bridge between different kind of cultures, different kind of technology domains, etc., we will be able to create a new land with the new possibilities where things will be more narrow to the future society. and of course challenges that we will have in next years.
Okay, and why is Serbia such a big hit for innovation and technology? And for that matter, how do you manage to do that with the technology population being divested into 2 locations rather than 1, as it is in, say, Hungary or Slovakia or other countries in the region?
Yeah, actually, if we are like looking from the history perspective of IT in Serbia, I would say that it's pretty developed. Like, okay, from the roots where I need to tell, of course, and mention Nikola Tesla, who is originally from ex-Yugoslavia, Serbia, apart. To these days, we have like a strong analytical thinking and engineering, I would say, is in our blood. Most of our companies are actually delivering some kind of services to big players, big companies, corporations, etc. But what can be seen like in last couple of years that our like teams are struggling, and actually they are now empowered to develop their own companies, startups, with the really sharpness there, where, for example, we have companies like Nordeus. That's a gaming company, which is one of the most attractive gaming companies in the world. Actually, they were like a #1 partner to Facebook for several years, and we have like attraction already. If we are talking from other side, like we believe that Serbia is a pretty good position in a sense where from London, Amsterdam, etc. You need hour and a half, like mostly, to come and join. Like prices are pretty competitive, etc. And one of the most important aspects is also that here you can find really polite people, you can find really good fun, and that is something that is important for people, just to discover new cultures, to create a good business there. And our goal is to just create a platform to invite the big players and speakers, experts that are pretty knowledgeable about artificial intelligence, and just to give them our support to mingle, to discuss, to find the ways how they could benefit from each other.
And a final question, just quickly, while you're on the subject there of big partners who are in AI. So what kind of institutions have you been able to work with over the years when it comes to WonderlandAI? Just off the top of your head.
For our last year, actually, that was a zero event for us. We had our chance to host really big players from companies like IBM, Facebook, Mercedes, to companies like NVIDIA, eBay. Also, we had one speaker from Max Planck Institute. I would say that for last year, we had really high-level experts with us. And also from our region, we had most promising like companies that are in the data science, AI already, of course, institutes and faculties that are here from this part of Europe already have been with us on different kind of also initiatives, where Wonderland last year actually created a really big impact in this part of Europe.